We move on to race relation industry, race advisors of Note Institute of Race Relations. After the Labour government came to power in 1965, the government formed National Committee for Commonwealth Immigrants. The government invited men from different communities to be member of the National Committee for Commonwealth Immigrants. It was under the auspices of the British government, that committee, managed by or supported by the Home Office. I don't remember how many members, but there were more than 20 members. One was Taniram Prem, doctor, from the IWA. IW took the position not to be member of the committee, which I recorded earlier. There was a meeting with David Arnold, Home Office Minister, which I didn't attend, but Joshi was there, and Home Office invited us to join the committee, but we didn't. But there were other members. Vishnudat Sharma of the Avtar IWA, he joined it. And from Coventry there was a person named Rajmal, who later was arrested by the police for sham marriages. At the same time, member of the National Committee for Commonwealth Immigrants. And so we took the decision not to join. However, I received invitation to be a member of the employment panel of the National Committee for Commonwealth Immigrants. According to the IW policy, I declined to become the member. So that was the beginning of the race relation industry. I don't remember whether it was 66 or 1965 when the IW issued a statement that a race relation has become a sizable industry. The UK government under Labour and started creating community relation councils up and down the country through the local councils such as Sandville Council before it became Sandville. It was under Smadic. and community relation councils were created up and down the country. I add that before that, after the 1965 Race Relation Act, the government instituted Race Relation Board to negotiate conciliation between the aggrieved party and the discriminator. It has regional bodies and national body Race Relation Board. From the NCCI on, then the government established, what was the name I forgot, of which Herman Ousley became chair.
Commission for Racial Equality. Commission for Racial Equality.
CRE, yeah. And before Herman Ousley there was someone else. And after Herman Ousley it was Harbaksh Singh or Gurbaksh Singh?
Gurbaksh.
Yeah, Gurbaksh Singh. And under the Community Relation Council, which was local community councils, were turned into actually community relation councils, and up and down the country, number of staff were employed with the community relation officer, like one Mr. Housley here in Birmingham, and it's up and down the country. That was one side. The other was under the GLC, when Ken Livingstone was the mayor. He gave a lot of funds and created for example, he supported several bodies. One was Mark Wordsworth, what was its name?
Anti-Racist Alliance.
ARA. And when Mark fell off with him, he withdrew all the funding from Anti-Racist Alliance and then created National Assembly Against Racism, short words NAR. He stopped funding from ARA and gave the funding to National Assembly for National Assembly Against Racism. For some time, Milena Boehm, who was a lecturer here with me, she was one of its officers. Another one was Atma Singh. They were all of the politics of Trotskyite. And so he shifted the funding there. When the GLC closed down, all the funding went down as well. And in terms of race advisors, it comes into the same thing.
What about the IWA controlling some community relations councils?
It was,
for example, Woolwich.
They joined in 80s, not before. They joined there. And CPM IWA, they were up and down the country like Avtar Sadiq, Shank Gognia, Prem Singh, and several others. Institute of Race Relation was not a government body, but it received funding, and it was founded by Deepak Nandi. Yeah, he was a good guy, but IWA cooperated with it, but didn't join its management committee. So basically, this is IWA situation. And as far as I remember, up to the 80s, IWA did not receive any funding or grant. You may remember that Sushil, when he was working in Sandwell, and Surjan. Sandwell Council sent some funding to Shahid Udham Singh Welfare Trust. Committee met and they returned the funding. But later on, Shahid Udham Singh Welfare Trust decided, with the support of IWA, that rather than IWA get the funding, it's okay, Shahid Udham Singh as a charity received the funding, and that funding received from Birmingham City Council or one employee when Mohanlal was employed, and later on it continued until by the Tories all the funding was stopped.
How much did race advisors in the 80s rely on the IWA for connections with communities? For example, when I first joined the race relations unit in sort of Sandwell, and one of the things that was being raised was establishing employment targets because of the underrepresentation of people from black and minority communities not being reflected in the council to the level of their population within the community. I recall that the IWA played a role in influencing the Asian councillors, at least, and lobbying for the importance to actually establish employment targets. And it was felt that had it not been for that level of community organisation and pressure at that stage, the council would not have adopted employment targets.
Yeah, IWA did from outside, did the lobbying and community work and put the pressure, not only in Sandwell, at other places in Birmingham as well. Yeah.
So were they open relationships with race advisors, or were they clandestine relationships?
It was not like IWA leaders became part of that body, but like we from the beginning cooperated with Hassan Zadi over there. We didn't cooperate with Sidhu when he became the officer because he was a nasty guy. Yeah, but we cooperated with.
But he worked for the Community Relations Council.
Community Relation Council. Cooperated with Bob Adam, and there was another guy, a councillor with the beard, Jeff Taylor as well, and at political level we cooperated. Yeah. Okay.
Were you ever criticised for that cooperation within the ranks?
No. In my interview recording, I mentioned Deepak Nandi as from Institute of Relations, but actually he was from Runnymede Trust, and Shivanandan was from Institute of Race Relations. Correct it?